Years and years ago, when India was under the British rule, Gandhi, who was kind of a holy man, prophet, and also a political activist, one time when the British attacked on the South, he said, "I'm going to walk to the sea." And in his walk to the sea, hundreds, if not thousands, of people started to follow him. And all he did is he was walk to the sea. When he got to the sea, he just grabbed some salt and says, "I'm not going to pay taxes for that which is free." That walk actually galvanized much of India, and many historians say that was one of the deciding points of the independence of India from Britain. Those iconic things good teachers use, and you remember them. And so today, Jesus is upstairs at the Last Supper. And you kind of have to imagine what this like. The disciples knew something was going on. Christ was quite open about him being rejected by the Pharisees and Sadducees, and that he would be rejected by them and be put to death. And so he is there with his people he loves. And the streets during the Passover were filled with blood because in the temple, the lambs were being slaughtered, and each family had to have a lamb. After the lambs were slaughtered, the father of the house would usually put it around his shoulder and take some of the blood and put it on the heads of his wife and children, and they would sing the Yahweh songs, and they would go to prepare the Passover feast. And so there was a lot of commotion, a lot of things going on. Christ, of course, at that supper took bread and said, "I'm the new lamb. I'm the person." And he took wine and said, "Do this in memory of me." In the midst of that, he told his disciples to sit down, and he washed their feet. Now, can you imagine all the things that they did, all the connections they had to the Passover, all the noise, and with this iconic act, he told them how they are supposed to minister. He didn't say, "Do this and do that." Good teachers just show how it's supposed to be done, and so they may be servants of others, and that has been the theme of, and the motto of our church throughout the ages, that we are here to serve others and reject. And Jesus didn't do this because it was a photo opportunity, or someplace to get it happen, to kind of have it publicized, although it was. He just did it because of intimacy. He did it out of love, just as God did out of love for his people. And that intimacy is beyond just knowing something or just feeling something. It's a connection to something that's deeper. He even washed the feet of Judas, and there was recriminations from Christ about the betrayal that was to come. And so you see this in this Last Supper and in the washing of the feet, how it was supposed to be. And because Christ did it in such an iconic way, we think about that. As we go around each and every day as being a follower of Christ, how are we to serve others? How are we to do things? And no doubt in your life, as in mine, I've seen and experienced people who do that, who give the light in a sense for others, who do the things that need to be done without any fanfare. And they do it because of the love of God. They do it because Christ said that this is how we are supposed to be. So I guess maybe today, as we come together to pray, we start to understand a little bit as we listen to that reading, what it means to be a foot washer, what it means to be a servant of others, and to be a servant of others is following the best of what Christ was all about. And in his washing of his feet of his disciples, you can imagine, here he is, as he said, now offer our prayers of